Now we're having conversations with our kids about what did so and so say on TikTok about your friend? What did so and so post on TikTok? What did so and so say on whatever social media channel about you?
Mm-hmm.
And what happened to this thing? What did so and so say about the basketball game last night or the this or that? It's just like this is the strangest thing. Like we're like managing relationship or something in this digital world. There's like this fifth dimension, sixth dimension. I don't know anything about dimensions. One extra. How many do we have? 4 or 5?
Something like that.
Add another one. Okay, add another one. And trying to help them navigate that world while at the same time, all the other normal stuff, like just growing up and how to have conversations, how to be a good friend, how to work through doing terrible at a test, how to work through friend drama, how to work through decide whether you want to do ballet, basketball, track, or field hockey. Like how do you, and just all those things and navigating growing up. And so what it feels like, to try to get your question, it feels like we're parenting in like, I don't know how we describe it other than another dimension. This ethereal other dimension that is the internet stuff that impacts us. We know it's not real, but it impacts people in a gazillion different ways.
Hey, welcome to another episode of the Mediocre Dads Podcast, where being mediocre is a choice and you refuse to be mediocre every single day. I'm your host, Quan. I go by Q, and on this episode, I am joined by another in-person guest. And I'll tell you guys, in-person guests are always fun. And I told you guys at the beginning of the year that I would have more guests on, and this is the first of many. So we're gonna have a lively conversation. I can already tell. We were talking beforehand. We've been talking for some time. Well, I've been talking. I'm not gonna lie, guys. I'm a talker. But it's gonna be an awesome conversation. I'm really excited. But without further ado, guys, I have Ryan here. Ryan, can you tell the audience just a little bit about yourself, who you are?
Yeah. Who am I? Oh, that's
well, maybe not who you are. We'll be
complicated. Let's not. Well, most importantly, I think I am a husband.
That's awesome.
And for quite some time now, actually. And we have I'm a dad to three girls, 2 of whom are teenagers, which is it is what it is. It's an adventure, and they're all.
I don't envy you. 3 girls.
All different, man. It's so crazy. I don't know. I'm from New Mexico, where nobody's from, so that's kind of unique. I love everything outdoors.
Awesome.
I love bicycles most of all. I'm super into that, and my family's active. We love to get out and do. We also love to read and do all that kind of thing. I don't know. I've had a couple different careers and
That's
talk
awesome.
about that if you want. But,
no, it's awesome. It's I mean, but I think that's just the realness of it, right? You know what I mean? I like it because my entire adult life it's been Army. So when I get the opportunity to talk to someone who you didn't join the military, right?
No, I did not.
Yeah, right. So who didn't join the military? Not a hit on you by any means, but like I just it makes me feel normal. Because being around military folks, everyone thinks they're special. And everyone thinks they've done something. They did some cool stuff, and they're just like, listen, man, it's after a while you're like, it's not that cool. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know, maybe it is.
Well, some stuff like
compared to us.
Like special forces and Delta Force and like the Navy SEALs, like I would never take that away from them. Like they in that world, it's a lot of cool things, right? But on the normal side of the Army side, it's not as cool as people like to, like we people like to over exaggerate,
Yeah.
certain things and certain stories, and it's like,
Yeah.
I get it, but it probably wasn't that
It
cool. They
wasn't
were,
that good, guys.
exactly,
That
you know what
special.
I mean? So I say it because it makes me, it makes me, reminds me, it kind of, it's like, okay, we're just normal people, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just normal people, not nothing. Life didn't need to be over extravagant. I thought it did. It's one of the reasons why I joined.
When yeah, the dream, right? It's out
Yeah.
there, and then you kinda have this, like, vision of, "Wow, that looks amazing, and that looks unique, and I'm gonna experience whatever and learn whatever," and I don't know, be like G.I. Joe. I don't know what
Yeah,
you
well,
imagine,
well,
but
that's
kind of, right?
exactly what it was.
G.I.
Like, you know
Joe,
what I mean?
yeah.
And like I was telling you,
Oh,
21
man.
in Afghanistan, I was like,
Yeah.
oh man, I don't want to shoot anybody, but it's cool. Like, I got some cool pictures of me looking like I could shoot somebody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, I want to actually do that.
Ooh, sounds terrible.
So, well, yeah, exactly.
Sounds terrible.
It's not a. There were several moments when I was there that kind of made me kind of realize it was real life. Like, we weren't playing like
Oh,
this
okay.
wasn't a game. Because
Yeah.
when you're young and
Yeah.
when you do something like that, and a lot of people describe it to you going overseas or whatever,
Yeah.
it 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 feels like, it can feel like it's a game. It can feel like it's like it's not
It's
real.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
wow.
Like, we're
Yeah.
not people are not actually dying. We're not actually shooting people. We're not actually blowing people up, or they're not trying to blow us up.
Yeah.
But
Ooh.
there were several moments where it became very real, very quickly. And I was like, I remember asking one of my NCOs once. I said, I don't understand why people die. Like, I don't understand why is this happening? You know what I mean? Like,
Wow.
it was 9 o'clock at night. And one of the guys that I knew, I won't say we were super close, but we
Mhm.
went to the same church. I knew his family. He knew my family. We
Mhm.
talked before. We both served on the security team for the church or whatever. And I remember I talked to him before we left, and he was super excited to go. And he was like, "This is my first deploying." He had 4 kids,
Mm.
and he unfortunately he got killed. And I remember that
Oh,
night, and I'm just sitting there and asking the question, like,
like,
what
what's
is
going
life?
on?
Like,
Why? Yeah, yeah.
what are we doing out here? Like, what is the real reason we're out here? You know
Wow.
what I mean? And I
Yeah.
never considered that question until he got killed. And it
Mm.
made me realize, I'm like, this is real life. And this is not Call of Duty. As much as the young kids like to be like,
Mhm.
"Oh man, I play Call of Duty." Yeah,
Yeah,
you
you
play
really do.
Resurgence. You get to die and come back as if it's nothing. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? And it's like, that doesn't happen in real life. So
No.
it changes you, and unfortunately sometimes for the worse.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, again, like, I like normal. You know what I
I'm
mean?
good. I'm normal. I have nothing. Yeah. I mean, I think well, I don't know why I mean, what you would say why we connected, but, over, it's like I was helping you with, some insurance stuff, and then we just got talking about, like, life. So it's like faith for one,
Oh yeah.
and I don't know how I dragged that out of you, but, like, somehow we got from insurance to, like, you're a believer, and then a podcaster, and then all this, and a bit about your story and love trucks and all this kind of thing. I'm like, oh my gosh, we have so much in common. And Ray, you want to live on a ranch or all these things, right?
Yes.
I'm like, hey, I live that life. Hey, that's me. This is awesome. Let's hang out. So,
Yeah.
I guess too for me, I should have said this earlier. I'm terrible. I'm a Christian, a believer, a Jesus follower. That also matters. I know you
Look,
know, but they don't know.
it was a lot of pressure, guys. Don't
It's
worry.
a
It was a
lot.
lot of pressure, okay?
So that's important too. And as a pastor for a long time, and now, but kind of back and doing other stuff in the whatever, the business world, whatever that means. But
Yeah.
anyway,
What? Oh, I want to dive into. You mentioned you're a pastor.
yeah.
How
Oh
did?
boy.
What was that like? Because people, they hear, oh, this, about pastors, or they
Mhm.
hear the life of a pastor, and you're just like, again, it's one of those things where it doesn't seem real. They're like, they're busy, but they're only busy on Sunday. Every other time, nah, they're just hanging out with their
Hanging
family.
out, doing nothing, man. An hour and a half. I punch the clock on Sunday. There's a little prep before, a little prep after, or just you got to talk with folks as I funnel out the door. Maybe 2 hours. 2 hours of work on
2 hours
Sunday,
max.
rounding up maximum. Um, yeah, that I did various things. I did all kinds of things. So I did, things with youth. I did stuff globally, brief, just kind of a few weeks here and there. did college ministry, and then I kind of ended my career, my 20-year career in a local church
Wow.
in Fort Collins. So all those were very different, but I don't know. I think like the biggest thing being a pastor is about is just you are you are trying to be like the presence of the presence of the gospel, the presence of God's word, like some sort of presence. I don't want to say mediate. I'm not like
Yeah.
mediating between, but it's just like you just try to be present with people
Mhm.
and just try to share hope, share faith, pray with them. I became a professional listener and question asker.
That's
That's what
awesome.
pastor is. You sit down with somebody, they want to talk about whatever, okay, got to dig down, like what's really going on here, what are they
Mhm.
really trying to say, all this kind of thing. So it's a very strange gig in that way, and nobody sees what you do.
Yeah.
So there is something to what you say because what now that's an overstatement, not nobody, but unless I'm meeting with you throughout the week, you as a church member, you have no idea what I do.
Yeah.
And you can't be at those meetings because someone's sharing their heart or sharing their addiction, sharing their struggle, sharing their pain, sharing their huge doubts that they don't want anybody else to know because they'll kick them out. You can't invite anybody to that, and I can't
Yeah.
tell you what I just talked about with so and so, you know? So it was weird, and then so you do that kinda stuff during the week. There's all that, and then I guess I'm really thinking about my last few years as a church pastor. That's just the most vivid to me because it's the last bit, and
Mhm.
I'm getting old, and I'm losing my memory, so the most recent things I remember. So you do that, and then you've got all these, like, administrative things to do. You've got like a board of elders, you have deacons, you have ministry leaders in your church, you have a few staff. You're like, oh my gosh, I gotta like have meetings, take notes,
Meetings after
yeah,
meetings.
more meetings. I gotta like plan a strategies. People ask, what are we doing this year? I don't know.
Church?
You do church, doing the church things. You do all that, and then you're like a public figure for an hour and a half a week.
Mhm.
If you have a couple other services, other things we do, but let's just go with an hour and a half a week on Sunday. You're right, and then that's when you're seen. You're
Yeah.
like up on the stage, you're saying whatever, preaching, leading something, doing this or that, and then you walk off the stage. You don't see most of those people for the rest of the week, and then I don't know. It's quite the deal anyway. But
Man, well, it's crazy because I've always been curious to know what obviously you have kids and
yeah,
being a pastor and then your kids, there's expectations not only on you, right? I one thing about pastors that I think that's unfortunate is the pressure to be a sinless person, and none of us are
hmm
capable of being sinless,
hmm
and so there's this idea that when the pastor's up there, he's perfect, so that means his wife is perfect, and that also means his kids are perfect. And so, like, there's this pressure where, like, no
yeah,
one wants to say it, but everyone puts it on you.
yeah,
So, like, what do you think? How do you think your kids handled that, right? Because and
yeah,
again, I'm sure they were younger, but like the
yeah.
pressure, just well, dad's preaching, and everybody's like, "Oh, you're the kids pastor." So, if little Timmy was bad or little Jenny was bad today
Mhm.
in kids service, you're not going to find out because they're not like, "Well, you're the kids pastor. You get a free pass, I guess."
You're right. Actually, only one thing you said there was wrong. My wife is perfect. So, I'm not and my kids are not, but my wife is perfect. So,
I
just to
apologize.
clarify.
I
Oh my
love that.
gosh. So, this was interesting because and it really wasn't until after wasn't full-time ministry anymore till I got this out of my kids, like what actually they felt and how they were actually. So, truthfully, we actually had I would say a better situation than maybe the stereotype, or really not even the stereotype. Other pastors' kids I've known,
Mhm.
our church really was it was really a good place for that. There was much less of that, but it was definitely still there.
Yeah.
And my kids noticed it because when we were doing college ministry, and we did that for I don't know, however long it was, 15, 16 years, something. That was very different because all the college kids would come over and my girls just I mean, they just got doted on, they got loved on, and played with. They just thought it was the coolest thing, and there wasn't that pressure. They just got to be kids. They got to join in the whatever. But in the church, it was different, and they did see, and they didn't articulate that to me until after we weren't doing it anymore.
Oh, wow.
And so, and I don't, this would just come up with normal conversation, but they did say they would feel pressure, and nobody had to say anything really, but
Mhm.
sitting there in the pew, the whatever on the front-ish row, second
Yeah.
row back, they could feel like the eyes on them, because I don't know what they felt was on them, but it was on me, and everybody knows they're connected to me.
Mhm.
So there was this pressure. Then actually, my my oldest told, a couple stories about some of the church members, like, um, after a service or something, saying, bringing, I don't remember the details of the stories, but like, "Hey, you I noticed you something or something during the service, your dad's a pastor, you better, you gotta,
Wow.
like, behave, and you gotta make sure that whatever," and, and then at that point on, and my so she began to be a little suspicious, and then she began to read into questions that people would ask her, like, "Wait, and then it would kinda
It's
stress her
crazy.
out,
Yeah.
because "Are these people quizzing me? Are they grilling me? Am I in trouble? Did I do the right thing? Ah." So, anyway,
That's see, and that's, honestly, it's I know it's wherever the Lord leads me,
yeah.
but, the thing that I told my wife, I said, I said, "I really just want the Lord to make me like a youth pastor,
Amen.
not a, I don't being a head
Amen.
pastor of a church,
Dude,
gives me anxiety a little bit
yeah,
to the point where, I mean, because again, there's just a lot of expectation, and
it's massive.
it's not like that I don't think I could do it. It's just that I don't want the pressure that it comes not only for me,
Mhm,
but also my family. You know what I
mhm,
mean? I don't,
mhm.
like you said, sitting up in the frontish row, and you can just feel the eyes on you
Yeah,
of like,
yeah.
my wife, we've been married going on 12 years this year, right?
Mm.
She's heard
Awesome.
me talk and talk and talk. So you think if I'm out there preaching,
Yeah.
like she's like, I heard this
She's like,
before, you know what I mean?
"Oh,
Like,
boy."
so
Internal eye roll.
you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and then she's gonna be not single one. I imagine is gonna be so like she's just on fire. Like, oh my goodness, this is
Yeah.
so great. It's gonna be like I've heard this so many times. As a matter of fact, I heard this 2 years ago on the dot. You know what I mean? And so there's just kind of just like,
Yeah.
and then people are looking at you like, oh, are you receiving the message just as well as we are? And then as your
Better be
kids,
nodding that head. You better
right?
be
You know
in
what I
it.
mean?
You
Giving
better
the
be engaged.
amens, doing something
Amen.
like
You better be
just
in it.
praise and worship, or your hands up, your hands are not up.
Yeah, that's right.
What kind of wife? It's just the pressure,
It is. It's tough.
and I don't. I don't like the fact that it's unfortunate. It's coming from the congregation. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? The congregation is putting that undue pressure. There's already enough pressure to go up there
Yeah.
and deliver a message that lands with people's hearts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And obviously, that's not as a pastor. Your job is not to convince people
Right.
of like, hey, this is how amazing Jesus is.
Mhm.
It's just you want to plant a seed,
Yep.
but
Faithful to plant the seed. Yep. That's what we're called to do.
exactly.
Yep.
But then we get distracted with all the other things, right? All the other things, forgetting kind of like, no, I'm just here to plant a seed, guys. Like, if you don't like the message, you don't like the
Yeah.
message, you know?
You're just a messenger. You're an under shepherd. You're a servant. You're a
Hmm.
bond servant, like Paul calls himself. Even when he's organizing churches, like I think
Yeah.
at the beginning of Titus, he's like giving orders. He's doing this. He's doing all that. Guys, we got to do this. We got to do that. He says, but I'm speaking as a servant, a
Yep.
bond servant and this is the thing I don't understand. How did we get to that point? Because that's not the gospel.
Oh,
The
yes.
gospel is not you're perfect, you're perfect, you're perfect. Let's live up to that. The gospel is we're all in need. We're all sinners. We're all broken. We need something outside of us to like to make us righteous, and that's what Jesus does, and that's the whole thing. You know that, but like I don't know why. How do we have that expectation?
Oh, I think it has to do with um how we define sin, and
Yeah,
how when we understand, especially if you've been going to church for some time,
yeah,
you understand that the price of sin is death. Now, obviously, if I were to sin in an hour, that doesn't mean God's going to come down here and be like, "All right, man, I got my Colt 45, time to go." You know what I mean? Like, no, but like it's just this idea of like, okay, well, if I recommit my life to Christ or I commit my life to Christ, I can no longer sin. So therefore, because I can no longer sin when I go to church, I have to put on an exterior that says and shows that one, that Christ lives in me, but two, I don't sin. Right? I live a good Christian life, and that becomes more of a, hey, I'm trying to force myself to change rather than allowing Jesus to change me from the inside. Rather than saying, when someone says, "Hey, how you doing?" You're like, "Oh, all glory be to God. You know, it's all great day. Just you know, He woke us up to say it's you know, I'm actually not doing too well today. You know, I forgot to you know, I didn't pray yesterday. I didn't spend time with God, and now you know, I just don't feel like myself." And to see the response of the actual congregation to be like, "Oh, let's pray for you. Is there something we can do for you? Can I help you?" Right? And realizing that everyone in there, like you said, we're sinners just like the rest of the world,
just like everybody else. And
right?
it's hard to do that. There's something about, and even maybe it's our American church culture. I don't know what it is, but it's a lot of things in there. I think even so, I don't know. You just listen to you describe that. I'm like, well, yeah, we're all supposed to be, you know, we are being renewed daily in the spirit, absolutely. But then there's this thing in the middle called repentance.
Yes.
Like, that's how you get that renewal. Like, it's a constant humbling when I fail, which is minutely. Pick up a word there, right? And so, am I even humble? I don't know. I just like that. I just don't feel like, maybe it's repentance. I don't know. There's something missing there. It's like, it's because you know, it's not like a one and done. Like you're born again for sure, and the Spirit does that. But and that's real. Like, you're a new creature in Christ, and He does that work, and the Spirit does that work, and you're reborn. That's real. And the Scripture says that the process of bearing spiritual fruit of the Spirit, you know, like Galatians, is a process.
Yes.
and we're never gonna outlive it, right? Like Romans 7. I'm Paul, the best Christian ever. Never outlived it.
Right. Never. Well, it's crazy. It's Galatians 5 and it's 26, I think it is. It talks about, or Paul talks about, how the flesh wars with the spirit.
War, yeah, that's right. War.
And I like understanding, like he's very, you know, this one thing I like about Paul, and but all of the prophetic leaders in the Bible, but it was, they were very intentional with their words, right? They didn't mix words. They didn't just use words to be, you know, whatever. They were very intentional. Even David, when he was writing in Psalms or writing in Psalms, he was very intentional with his words. And Paul talks about how the spirit wars with the flesh, wars against the spirit, and vice versa. And so that is the process. It's the process every single day, acknowledging and, like you said, humbling ourselves to say, like, hey, I cannot do this by myself. I've tried to do this by myself and I can't. So Lord Jesus, I need you. I need you. Holy Spirit, convict me, guide me, be in my heart, put a verse on my heart and my mind every time that I start to stray away slowly. Cause it's a slow process when it comes to straying from God. But it's like, just put a verse on my mind, remind me. Right. Remind me of this, because that's as humans, that's what we need, right? As imperfect beings, that's what we need.
We do.
And so when he used that word war, that's intentional. It's not just like, oh yeah, you know, they slap fight. No, it's a war.
No, it's war. You're right. It is full on war. And there's no two ways about it. I think we have somehow, I don't know how we got here. I'm not even trying to pretend to understand, but like, somehow we got to this place where it's not you're right, it's not a war. We're not acting like it's a war. We're acting like it's a performance, you know, like we're on the theater and it's a
100%.
performance, but actually it's more like what's going on backstage, which is the craziness where everybody's like, it's just a madhouse back there, but on the stage,
Yeah.
somehow that's what our sort of even public persona of Christianity should be. I don't think it should be that. I think the public persona should be one of humility and repentance.
Mhm.
And that's Christianity. I mean, or that's walking. That term doesn't even mean anything. That's walking in the Spirit, because you're right.
Yeah.
We're a war. We're not, and the church is a hospital,
Yes.
not a I don't know what a movie set, a theater. It's a hospital.
It's not an
for
entertainment
sinners. It's
scene
not
where,
yeah.
it's not like, we have Post Malone coming to perform,
Although that would be kind of cool.
That would be cool, but it's not. That's not what it is. It's
Yeah.
that's not what I liked it because, I think I personally,
Yeah.
I think it has to do a lot with we've watered down the gospel. We've watered down his word and everything in it, right? And for some time there was this idea of the prosperity gospel, right? And I think
Yeah.
that is still impacting a lot of I would say older generation believers,
Yeah.
who are like, hey, this is the style of preaching that I got, that I
Mhm.
received, and so this has been my idea of who God is.
Mm.
And so then now, as they're passing generationally,
Mhm.
it's been watered down slowly but slowly and surely, to the
Mm.
point where people, again, we use these terms, they're just kind of terms. I say, Paul used the word war, but it's not like
Right.
people use it, they hear that like, yeah, but, America's been in war, we went to Afghanistan, we did this, but their idea of what that actually means, right? You know what I mean? Like, I think it was Paul who talks about this. We don't, it's not against, our enemy is not the flesh and blood, but it's in spirit. Like, it's a spiritual warfare.
Yeah.
And again, it's scary when it's a kind of like a, when God gives you the, just for a moment, it's the ears to hear and the eyes to see exactly what he means.
Mhm.
And where you're like, oh my gosh,
Mhm.
I've been going about my life this entire time wrongly.
Mhm.
I've been so worried about what Donald Trump said on the TV, what what this person did over here, what this person did over here, that I have forgotten. A lot of Christians have forgotten it's about salvation. We are just here to help, build disciples in the Great Commission, but also plant seeds so we can build more disciples.
Mhm.
Because when he comes back,
Mhm.
every knee will bow. And he's,
Yeah.
it's funny. I did a video earlier before you came, and I said the same exact thing, but Jesus is not going to come back on his horse and be like, did you vote for Donald Trump? Cool. All right. You're with me. Who'd you vote for?
Yeah.
Stay over there.
Yeah.
Me and my angels, we're here to wreak some havoc.
Yeah, the sheep and goats will not be Democrat and Republican. It'll be a completely different dividing line.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that where it's infected the church to a point where the congregation has this false idea of who Jesus is, this false representation of what it means to be a believer in Christ.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's so many rabbit holes you can go there, because one of the ones that I've talked about before is
what's another
something
important
simple,
one?
reading the word.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Studying
for yourself.
Yes, for
And
yourself.
not just consuming content or having somebody else do it. Or
yes. And I didn't know how important that was. I never knew how important that was. But I had the perfect example. Well, I say perfect. I had two perfect examples, right? I had my, the Heavenly Father, but I also had my earthly father, my dad. I can tell you, I can call my dad tomorrow at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, and he'll answer, because I know what he's doing. He's reading his Bible and he's praying. He's drinking coffee, reading his Bible, and he's praying. He does this every morning, religiously. He does this every morning. And I don't say it religiously as like he's doing it just for the religion.
Yeah.
He does this every morning. It's a habit he has. And I used to sit there and I think to myself, I'm like, gosh, he does this every morning. What is this? That guy's committed to it. You know, like, must be something good in that book.
Must be.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it wasn't until that I recommitted my life that I realized, I'm like, oh my gosh, he was giving me an example. That's what it takes. You want to be a Christian who's on fire for the Lord, and you can go through anything and just be like, I know he's got my back.
Yeah.
You have to spend time with him. And that's what my dad did. He
Right.
spent time with the Lord, and he still spends time with the Lord, where I tell my wife every time, I'm like, whether in the morning or even at night, I say, hey, I'm going to go study. And she knows what I mean by that. And I'll be down here for 2 hours, and I didn't even know 2 hours goes by. She'd be like, you were down there for a couple hours. I was like, was I really?
Oh, no,
I was like, my bad, but I was reading something, and then I was reading how this was correlated and who he was, and I'm a history nerd, so like I end up getting so deep into like what was going on, the context of what was going on. I got commentary. I'm a nerd anyway.
That's I.
But like that is just, that's what I saw. But I don't see. I'm not saying that I need to see it, but I don't know if a lot of believers do that.
Doing that. Yeah.
I don't know if they're not. In Luke, he talks about pick up your cross daily and follow me. I don't think a lot of Christians actually are doing that. I think it's just there's a lot of Sunday Christians, and it's unfortunate. And my prayer for them is that they understand, or they come to a deeper understanding, a deeper relationship with the Lord, to really see like, that's where you get the, oh, you're holier than thou. It's like, no, I'm just on fire for God, and I just know what he's capable of.
Yeah.
And when you do that, when you see that, when you experience that, you're like, wow, I never want to go back to the old way I was living. Right. If Paul was around today, we would call him most people today would call him a holier than thou Christian. They would be like, oh, you think you're better than us. You think you compare you're basically calling yourself God. You think you're this, right?
Right. Yeah.
Paul, you read Paul's letters, and in the beginning of how he usually starts every letter, if a church got that in 2026 from a pastor, oh my goodness, it'd be all over the internet. They'd be like, who do they think they are?
He says an apostle? What? Direct revelation from Jesus about the what?
You know what I mean? And that's just, but it's like when you read more and you start to understand, you're like, Paul was he had an encounter with Jesus that he could never.
You can't
shake it. You know what I mean?
It is who you are. It comes out everywhere. And he's given a mission, a calling, and remade. And like, like this question you asked me, like, who are you? What's important to you? I mean, and that's what Paul would say. That's the first question you ask anybody when you get to know him, right? What makes you tick? Like, what's your thing? That was his thing. That was the defining moment in his life. Yeah. So, and you hope. I mean, one hopes that. Well, as a pastor, just keep going back to that, I guess. But as a pastor and a dad, honestly, both, I would hope and pray and work for those that the people I was ministering to, the people in our church, and their friends and neighbors, whatever, but would have that encounter, that God would, be real to them and make that change, because those things are defining moments. And I hope, I pray and work for and hope the same things for my kids. Like, I want them to know that that Jesus is real, and that it's real, and it's real enough. And so that it becomes, I don't know what that moment is for them. Could be, I mean, now my kids are older. I'm like, oh, maybe that was it, or maybe this, or maybe they haven't had it yet. It's kind of one of those things I'm looking for, and every parent does. But anyway, I can't make that happen. You can't, nobody can force that to happen, but just pray that it happens, because that's that defining moment, that thing. Maybe it's not a moment, maybe it's a series of moments. Maybe it's a season. Maybe it's a positive moment, maybe it's a negative moment, right? Where they feel, I don't know, but there's something about that as humans, I don't know, an experience that is formative. you know?
We don't, I mean, and I get it because we don't want our kids to have to experience the bad side
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
things that we had to experience to get to the point we are now, to become the people we are now. But
Right.
even though we know as a matter of fact, from the bottom of our heart,
Mhm.
we would probably never change that thing happening. It just, we don't want to have to experience that, and we don't want anybody else to have to experience it, whatever that thing may be.
Mhm.
And so then to imagine our kids, like I sit here now, I was very prideful and egotistical when my first daughter was born, and she
Mm.
was fairly young. And I remember I told my wife, I said, no, all our kids will join the military. They will join the military.
There you go.
I said they will learn respect and what it means to lead and all these things. I had this idea in my head
Yeah.
that in order for them to get that, they had to join the military. And fast forward, and I'm like, I have experienced so many things in the military, and I was like, there's another side of the army that, or the military as a whole, that I was like, I would never want my daughters, especially, or my son, to have to experience, just for they can say, like, Dad, I joined the military. I did what you said to do. And I was like, I would never want them to have to do that. So now I'm like, well, maybe go to a trade school. It's like, maybe go to trade school and work with your hands. Maybe do something that's meaningful and impactful, and that will test your brain. And rather than just saying, "Hey, I'm going to go to school for biology," which no hit on anybody who's went to school for biology. I'm just saying, or gender studies, right? Like, I want it to be impactful. I want it to be meaningful. But again, I don't want them to have to experience the dark side of the things that I had experienced, where I remember sitting there thinking to myself, like, this is one of the worst moments of my life. But if I didn't have my kids, I didn't have my wife, I don't think I would be here, And so, and that's the part where I'm like, I want my kids to find salvation. I mean, they need to find salvation for themselves. I can't just, like you said, we can't just force it upon them.
Force it,
But I hope it comes from, like, maybe at, like, youth camp. You know what I mean?
I know. Yep. Every time I send them off to, every time the youth group camp weekend, like, well, may this be may the speaker show up that says the thing, that does the thing, or has that impact, or that small group discussion where the lights come on in my, kid's soul and life. And then, who knows what it's going to be. It's unnerving as a parent, but.
Yeah, I can only imagine my dad. I've told him some stories that I've experienced, and he's listened. But I think in the back of his mind, he's like, I didn't want that for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And and it's I tell people, because I was adopted. Me and my twin brother were adopted by an all-white family. So we, two dark twins with an all-white family, they're like, those are your kids, and they're like, yeah, those are my kids. And us being young, we're like, Mommy, Daddy, take us. And I remember we'd go into like Sam's Club or Costco, you have to show them your membership card. I remember this lady stopped us. This older black lady stopped us, and she's like, where are your parents? And we're like, right there. And my mom and dad, they're just, when you go to Sam's Club or Costco, you're focused. As a parent, you're focused. You're like, I have a mission here.
We are on a mission.
Like, I didn't even want to bring y'all.
No, that's
but right. We are on a mission.
Make it hard.
Exactly. Every time you want to stop at everything, you want to touch everything, you want to get everything. I don't have that type of money. We're here to get a few things, and we're here to go. We might stop to get the concession stands, maybe, if you're good. But most of the time, are they good? No. But I remember this lady stopped us, and she was like, where are your parents? I was like, our parents are right there. She's like, no. Where are your parents? She thought we were lying to us. So I'm like, Daddy! I'm not trying to not draw too much attention, but at the same time, I'm trying not to be like, turn to have him, because, whatever. I'll never forget this. He turns around and he's walking towards us. He's like, what are you doing? And he's getting mad at us. And we're like, she wouldn't let us in. He looks at her. He goes, and he looks back at us. He goes, let's go. And we're like, all right. Okay. And we go on, and the lady, she didn't say a single word.
Okay.
But I'll never forget, because he knew, right? But at the time, as a kid, we didn't know that he knew, but he knew. And instead of making it about like, hey man, there's these people, these type of people, he was just like, he kind of got mad at us, like, hey, we're moving, you're moving with me, let's go. And but I remember, but still, I was just like, it was my dad's way of standing up for us, but it was awesome to see. But anyway,
Yeah.
random tangent, but still, it just reminds me. That's what it kind of reminds me of. It's just having to get into places, and it's just
Yeah.
oh, it's amazing. But I wanted to ask you. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm done with my tangent, guys. I promise. But I wanted to ask you. Okay, so and I was thinking about this earlier. So the culture of this world, and we've kind of been obviously in that ballpark of what this conversation, but the culture of the world, but especially for our kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For you, and you have older kids, but how do you navigate that, right? Because now we have cell phones,
Oh my
and
gosh.
and
Boy,
and
do we.
and we you can access anything and everything on the cell phone, and we have TV, whether it's Netflix. Gosh, I don't like Netflix, but you have Netflix, you have Premiere Pro, or what is it called, Paramount, and all these. You have all these things, right? And the ability to distract our kids, and then they go to school and they have friends whose parents may not be Christian or believers, and they kind of let them do whatever they want.
Do not have the same rules at their house.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so there's this influence, this undue influence of like, hey, well, your parents won't let you just like go hang out until like 10 o'clock at night on a school night. No. They love me.
They love me. They want me to get sleep, so that I can grow and my brain can develop.
So like, how do you handle that, right? Because I think about it and I get nervous. And every time I think about, like, me and my wife think about like, we can send our kids to public school, I'm like, maybe not.
No,
I know it's stressful, but just hold out a little bit longer,
Yeah.
But how do you manage that?
It's funny. Like the first thing that came to mind is that we manage that every night at dinner.
Awesome.
I don't, we just, and then this is my wife. Remember, and I told you she was perfect, is perfect, not past tense, is. A lot of this is her and her wisdom and, and being intentional in this way and her gifting. But we just, so as much as we can, which now actually in my current job is more regular. I missed a lot of dinners at night because I worked at night, or I had to go back to campus at night, had meetings at night, missed a lot of dinner. So I do love that about what I'm doing now. Dinner almost every night at home. So that's our time to like talk about all these things. What happened? What are your friends into at school? What are they talking about? What happened? What's so and so saying? And now like when I'm a little older than you, but when we were younger, it's like you would talk to your kids about like what happened, in conversations or on the playground. Now we're having conversations with our kids about what did so and so say on TikTok about your friend? What did so and so post on TikTok? What did so and so say on whatever social media channel about you? And what happened to this thing? What did so and so say about the basketball game last night, or the this or that? It's just like, this is the strangest thing. Like we're like managing relationship or something in this digital world. There's like this fifth dimension, sixth. I don't know anything about dimensions. One extra. How many do we have? 4 or 5?
Something like that.
Add another one. Okay, add another one. And trying to help them navigate that world while at the same time, all the other normal stuff, like just growing up and like how to have conversations, how to be a good friend, how to work through doing terrible at a test, how to work through friend drama, how to work through decide whether you want to do ballet, basketball, track, or field hockey. Like how do you, and just all those things and navigating growing up. And so what it feels like, to try to get your question, it feels like we're parenting in like, I don't know how we describe it other than another dimension. This ethereal other dimension that is the internet stuff that impacts us. We know it's not real, but it impacts people in a gazillion different ways, and it's crazy. And then
Yeah.
talk about screen time, we talk about this, and, like, we have a habit of, like, I call those things a personal enslavement device. That's what I call it, and my kids have picked that up, and we're not the family. We don't. Nobody has a tablet. Nobody has an anything. We've got a couple kid phones. They're both really junky and cracked that the three of them share around. They go to friends' house. We're definitely learning that on the fly. The other thing we do is we listen to other people's wisdom and podcasts and
Mhm.
counseling, other parents and other counselors, and read other books. But yeah, it's very strange. It feels like you're parenting reality and then parenting this supra reality, this other dimension that has some sort of impact on our reality, which we don't really understand yet. But like the psychiatrists are doing enough studies that we feel like we get some handle and we kind of know how to. And it's madness. I know that's a vague answer, but it's a vague world,
Well,
a
no,
vague parenting world.
well, I completely agree, and because um when when our parents were growing up and they were being parented, you
Mhm.
didn't have, you know you had one friend who maybe had a parent who was
Mhm.
like seemed like a genius or who was always
Mhm.
into everything, and so
Yeah.
they were around it, and then
They had
that's
the
how you found,
gadgets. Yeah.
and that's how you found out about
Yeah.
other things going on. You're like, oh my gosh, you guys know we went to the moon.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
but like, obviously I know it was televised, guys, but anyway, not here to get in conspiracy theories. We didn't go to the moon. Anyway, but like this whole idea, right? Like this, it's it wasn't as prominent, it wasn't there. But now this is everything.
Everything is evidence
And
everywhere.
it's information overload. And as adults, I won't say we can't handle it, but
Yeah.
but I'm gonna say we
I don't
can't
think we
handle
I
it.
don't think we can handle it.
And so, like,
Yeah.
of course we have to we have to put limits on ourselves because we're like, all right, this is just too much, right? But our kids they don't know what limits are.
Mhm.
They think limits are you're not allowing me to have fun.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like, hey, you put a limit on. You say, hey, we're limiting your screen time
Mhm.
to, I don't know, 4 hours a day. They're like, oh my gosh, you're such a tyrant.
Yeah.
How dare you only give me 4 hours of screen time? Does that include the TV too?
Yeah, that's right, that's right.
And I don't know what your screen time what it is, but I'm making it up. But like,
Yeah.
but it's that's what the reality is, and
Yeah.
they don't understand that hey, this is for your good. I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to let you know, like, as a millennial, we didn't know what this was going to become. We didn't know what this really meant.
Yeah.
It was new to our parents just as much as it was new to us.
Right.
So like it was cool. It was kind of like, man, this is kind of innovative right here. Like I have access to stuff right here on my hand. Be like, oh, cool. Like of course I would at the time. If you go back to, like, for me, it would be like 2003 or 4. We would never have thought that people were going to be addicted to these things. Like, oh
No.
my gosh, we have
Right.
to do this, right? You would never have thought that. You would be like, no, this is going to be a great tool for us,
A
kind of like a
tool.
washer and
Yes, I
dryer.
like it. Yep. And
You know what I
actually,
mean?
yep.
But now it's everything.
It is literally everything.
And you have kids who
Yep.
iPads. Unfortunately, mine, they're down to one iPad because my middle daughter, like I was telling
Broke
you,
the other one,
she
is it?
broke it. She
That
was
sad.
down here.
Yeah.
It was like 2 weeks after we moved here.
Oh.
Sorry guys, real quick tangent. 2 weeks after we moved here, she comes down the basement, and I guess they're her and her sister, of course, doing what they do best,
Yeah,
fighting and arguing.
Yep.
And Nevaeh comes upstairs and she goes, Eden broke the iPad. And I go, what are you talking about? Why does she even have that? That thing has a freaking indestructible case on it.
Supposedly.
Supposedly. She was like, no, well, she was mad at me. So she walked up the stairs and she threw the iPad. She launched the iPad.
No.
And she said, it broke. So now I'm looking at this. The screen is completely shattered. And keep in mind, the screen was already broken.
Okay.
And we're like, at this point, I'm like, yeah, this thing's done for. So like now this thing it's completely done for. And they have to share that one iPad. But that one is already cracked too. Right. And it's one of those things where I'm like, my kids, they know how to work the iPad.
Right.
And at their age, I wouldn't know how to work an iPad. I would be like, how do I
Yeah.
It's not working. What are we doing? And that's how my kid, especially my 3-year-old figures it out. It's by trial and error.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I feel like that. I feel like a 3-year-old. I'm trial and error.
You're just technology. Like, oh, this doesn't work.
I didn't even have a cell phone until after grad school. Like I was late 20s before I even had it, and then it was a flip phone.
Yep.
And it's not predicted. I don't remember what the kind of text was. We had to press the button like 4 times, the same button to get to K.
QWERTY text or whatever it's called. Yeah.
Yeah, where it's like, you have like 12 keys and you got to get all the stuff on there. And
I used to be fast with it.
Yeah. Tap, 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 it's so one on a, well, I think I say it this way. I think so. My wife and I are taking seriously the research. Well, we've also experienced it. So it's very interesting. This is make me sound very old, but I lived through the transition. I have distinct, vivid memories of the dial phone. We had a dial phone, and with the cord, that was a really long cord. So you go from room to room. I mean, we're talking 100-foot long telephone cord. You make it mobile, so you could go in your bedroom and talk to your friend. That, and no computers of any kind. Had to call everybody, where I had everybody's phone numbers memorized. And when I came home from school or work or whatever, I checked the voicemail on my home phone to see who called or what happened during the day. Now, well, you know what now is like. And I've lived everything in between, and then watched the youth. So spending so much time with youth, doing youth ministry, college ministry, high school, college, junior high, just like, oh my gosh. And all of this just changed to the point where there was this whole other thing that kids were experiencing in the realm of like, the 2 best words to describe it are just like anxiety and addiction.
Yeah.
So, and now there's studies about this, and people are publishing books. Like I could have told you this 15 years ago, that this stuff is causing anxiety in our youth, that it is addictive on a level that I don't know anything else that could be, because it's not like, I mean, drugs or alcohol, like it takes you out. You can only do so much before you're out. This stuff, you're not out. In fact, it revs you up, and it never ends, and it just whatever. And there's this real addictive thing. And I've seen one of my kids do it, and I have a term for it. We'll be doing something like, okay, put the phones down, we're having dinner or whatever. And she'll say, well, I just gotta, just gotta what? It's like, there's this thing that you get. It's like a tick. Oh, I just gotta check. I just gotta text. I just gotta see. I just gotta. Yeah. I call the edge. I don't know what else to call it. That never. When you sat down with somebody at dinner, it's like you sit down and there's nothing but people.
Yeah.
And you got to like figure out what to say. There's people around here, people there, people looking at you. Nothing but like the dinner table and ching, ching, chink of like the fork and the plate.
Yeah.
There's nothing else to do except to talk, and it's just, the whole thing is very strange. But anyway, I don't know if you say you read a lot. I don't know if you've read into or looked into like the anxiety and the addiction and all this thing doing to you.
I'm afraid to be honest.
Yeah. Okay.
It scares me because I'll be honest, I'm on this thing a lot, and it's part of me has convinced myself. I'm a very transparent person, but part of me I've convinced myself that I'm on this a lot because of the podcast. So I got to post, and I got to, what I'm saying, I got to be this, and then also working, my work stuff and everything, like people contacting me and whatever the case might be. So like, it's just I convinced myself that I need to be on it as often as I do, when I really don't, and so. So now if I look into it, which, I will, but when I do look into it, it's going to be like, I feel like you're talking about me and I don't like it.
This is uncomfortable.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that, but so I think it scares a lot of people. It's kind of like,
that's interesting.
Coming to a grips with a drug addict or someone who's addicted to alcohol or whatever. I was talking about beforehand myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
I hated when people that I was close to would allude to me being alcoholic or drinking too much. I hated that, especially when my wife would be like, "Hey, are
Oh,
you
yeah,
gonna drink all that? That's a lot." And I'd be like, "No, it's not.
yeah,
My friends they're drinking more, and
yeah,
shouldn't have been, but you know
yeah.
what I mean? Like I'm like, it's not that much. I'm just a lightweight. You know what I mean? Or it get turned into uh I'm no longer a lightweight. It just takes a lot, because my tolerance level is so high, which my tolerance level had gotten
You
to
can
a
get there,
point.
so I hear yeah, that's what I
Yeah,
hear people yeah.
it's where it was I couldn't I so I'll just be honest, right?
Hmm.
I shortly after everything that happened, it was like 2023.
Mhm.
Uh I remember I said, "You know what? I haven't been drunk in a while. I'm gonna get drunk." So I tried. Like I had the intention of getting drunk.
Wow.
And let me tell you, I couldn't do it. Like I
Oh,
couldn't do it in a sense like
oh my god.
when I did drink, I love bourbon. Like bourbon is my favorite, right? And I drink it bourbon neat.
Mhm.
And don't try to hand me any Coke or anything because I
Uh,
will look at you
don't
crazy.
ruin it.
Yeah, you're ruining something great. And also I paid a lot of money for this bottle. So
Yeah.
don't ruin this with some your cheap Coca-Cola. Get out of here. So like I didn't I tried and it didn't happen. Didn't work.
That's
Like
crazy.
I
Wow.
just because I knew it by that point, I knew what I knew the stages that I went through, right?
Yeah.
Of kind of feeling heavy and then being like, okay, now I'm getting to being buzzed, and
Uh-huh.
then getting that transition between being buzzed and being like, I'm there.
Like spinning,
Yeah,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
Well, I hated the spinning. So I would
Or okay.
I just oh my
Oh,
goodness, I
yeah, it's
hated the
terrible.
spinning.
Ugh.
But I could get to the point where it was like it was fun drinking not versus getting the point of spinning. I guess sort of because of spinning. I hated the spinning, so I
Yeah.
never knew what it was like until I went to Poland to get drunk. And that's why Poland
A
was
lot of
fun for me.
vodka there. A lot of
Get
vodka.
Oh
They
my
drink it
goodness.
all the time.
I hate vodka now.
Yeah, I
Let me
bet
tell you,
you
I
do.
don't
Ugh.
I hate vodka.
Yeah.
People and stuff like, "Oh, vodka." I'm like, "No,
Same.
never.
Yeah.
Never. I'm never drinking that again." Like, I'm never drinking alcohol again, but just
Yeah.
know, like, if I ever decided to pick up a drink,
Mhm.
it would never be vodka. I don't care. It could be the most expensive vodka. I would
Mhm.
pour it out
That's
and I'd look at you and be like, "This stuff is poison." This is literal poison. I despise vodka. But yeah, like
Yeah.
I laugh and I joke about it, but like seriously, that's what it was. It got to the point for me where it was I tried and my tolerance level was so high that I couldn't. And the only point that I could get to was I just felt heavy. And I was like, oh, but it didn't even feel like a buzz. It just felt heavy, and it's kind of like it's not fun.
It's not for yeah, it
Yeah,
ruins the fun of it.
the
Yeah, you
ruins the
skip
fun of
that.
it, you know what I mean? And like, but that's what addiction was. And and it's so. If somebody would try to tell me like, "Hey, you're an alcoholic," I would have gotten pissed off. I'm like, "No, I'm not. You don't know what you're talking about." I would have been upset. But in the back of my mind, I knew it.
That's called shame.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's interesting. Maybe there's some of that. Maybe there's some of that for, um, maybe not everybody's convinced that the screen's the thing is an addiction. I mean, there's a lot of research, but I mean, I think it is.
I agree with you.
But yeah, so maybe there's some shame then in not. I don't know. That's interesting. If you get called out on it, or now in schools, they're at least where I'm at, they're like cracking down on this, like no cell phones at school. And the thing I was surprised about is that parents were really upset.
Really?
Yes, very upset, like vocally. So my wife works at one of these schools. A year ago, like before the whole district, maybe it was 2 years ago, doesn't matter, but before the whole district clamped down, I mean, from top down, they finally decided to make these rules. Everybody had to keep them. Before that, like if a school wanted to enforce the rules that were really already on the books about no
Mhm.
cell phones, like the parents gave like a lashed back. and the administration would back off. I'm like, what's going on with the parents? That's the thing I don't understand. So I had two thoughts. Either they're genuinely afraid that maybe, I mean, just what the school shootings and the awful, horrible things that's happening with that in our country. Oh my gosh. So maybe they're afraid they couldn't like contact their kid if something happens, or they're like ashamed that their 12-year-old kid is showing up with an iPhone 17.
Yeah. Well,
somebody's calling them on it. Your kid has a problem. They can't concentrate in class because of this supercomputer addiction, anxiety causing, life ruining enslavement device that you have given them. No, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's any validity to that, but.
Well, no, I say I agree. I completely agree because it's my daughter has asked for a cell phone, and I was like, yeah, absolutely not.
Oh,
No, she's 7. She'll be 8 this year. 8 years old. But our neighbors back in San Antonio, they didn't believe, but their kids, they were on the. She's a year older, and apparently she got a phone, or she's getting a phone or whatever. And so there's this idea where now she's like, oh, I want a phone. It's like, no, you don't need a phone. You like you have no idea the rabbit hole that happens with these phones. But I find it strange that parents would be the ones that would be up in arms about it, because oh my God, like I can understand the school shooting thing. Like, hey, I want emergency, I want to reach my kids. But if you as a parent feel confident enough to drop your kid off at this school
to begin with,
to get educated by these people,
yeah.
But then also not only be educated, but also you're putting your kid's safety in their hands.
Mm-hmm.
There has to be a level of trust there where you're like, okay, I'm willing to do those things. I think I can be willing to do the phone. And also, like, if my kid took the bus, sure. Hey, turn the phone off all day unless it's an emergency. Take the bus, sure. Then they can have it on the bus, so they can, I can see where they're at. They can call me, whatever the case might be. Right. But if parents picking them up, well, you're not missing anything.
We're talking about parents dropping off and parents picking up and parents being in the same neighborhood. I mean, a few streets away.
That's
neighborhood school situation. Yeah.
Well, and
I don't know what's going on with that.
I think this correlates to why we don't see as much, especially for me. We don't see kids running around in neighborhoods anymore.
Oh yeah, it's so sad. Yeah.
Because the millennials, the parents, because we got these, and again, information overload.
Yeah.
We've been scared into our homes. We've been scared to think that the creepy pedophile guy around the corner or gal around the corner is around every corner.
Right.
And is in every neighborhood. And so therefore our kids can't go out and run and play. Yeah. They want to go to 7-Eleven by themselves.
No.
Are you insane? What? Yeah. No. Even though as my parents, if I want to go anywhere, I had a bike.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd ride over a mile. Yep. Now that I know what actually a mile is, let me tell you. But like me and our friends, we ride over a mile just to go to the was a Circle K and get the big gulps or whatever. Yeah. And then we hang out by the gas station. And, and then we would go to the store, grab some stuff, and then we would, candy, and, then ride back home. And or we decided to walk, we walked back home, walked through the neighborhood. We spent out all day outside. Yeah. All day. I think I was not allowed to come back in the house till the streetlights come out.
Yeah.
I was not allowed back in the house. Like if I came in the house, are you bleeding? Are you dying? What do you need?
Mom, I'm just thirsty. I just want to drink a water.
Yep, and there's a hose right outside. If I saw one of these neighborhood kids drinking out of the hose, I'd be like, and they were drinking my hose, I'd be like, you're good, man. I've been there.
It looks normal to me.
Yeah.
Carry on.
Just make sure you turn it off all the way when you're done. You know what I mean? Like, but like now parents are like, oh my goodness, my kids need a water bottle if they're leaving the house. And where are you going? Oh my God, I need your location on. And it's just, it's a scare. We're so scared. Yeah. And don't get me wrong. I get it. Right. Yeah. Like what I think what this part of what this has done
Mhm.
is it's brought, the scaredness to the front, right? Where before you would read the newspaper or you would look on see on the news, you're like, man, that's really unfortunate that happened, right? Make sure I hope my kids are not doing anything they shouldn't outside, but you didn't
Right.
stop them from going outside.
Right.
Now, you go on social media, especially as adults and
Yeah.
whatever your algorithm has set up for you, right?
Yeah.
It's one bad thing after another.
Yeah.
Parent lost their kid fell out of the car, kid did this, kid
Mhm.
was this, parent and the kid this and this happened. And you're just like, it's all negativity where you're like,
Yeah.
I don't want to send my kid out
And
to the world.
global disasters. And
Yeah.
instantly, like, we know about all, like, the riots everywhere, like the riots in Iran
Yeah.
and Sudan and the civil wars everywhere, and it's just like boom, 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 and it just feels like, okay, the world is collapsing, everybody's dying or near to dying, and this is awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kinda overwhelming,
It
overload.
is very, and it goes right back to this. I think
Yeah,
this is a anxious ridden device. And it's hard because every job you get, they use it. And so it's like, hey, even if I want to get away from it, even if I want my kids to get away from it, it's
mhm.
not like I can tell them like, hey, you don't need a cell phone. Like, it's like,
Yeah,
no,
you really
your
can't.
your work would be like, hey, how do I contact you? I'm not gonna send you an email if I need you. Like, I'm not. I can call this
Yep,
phone and someone might answer.
yeah,
That's a home phone? Nah, man. I need you to get a cell phone. You know what I mean? Like,
yep,
and it's like, no, this was meant to be a tool. And now we've used and abused and overused this tool to the
yeah,
point where like, how can we make it even better? Like, and it's only gotten worse. And it's scary.
it's
It's
scary, it's
very,
weird.
very scary.
Yeah,
And again, my kids are younger, but it concerns me.
yeah,
It really does concern me
I
because
don't blame you.
I don't know where it's gonna go. But I was curious, and this
Yeah,
is not, I tell people I'm not here to make them feel bad or shame them because they do something different.
mhm.
Um, but did did you guys ever consider homeschooling?
We have considered it at times. That's a good question, I haven't thought about that in a long time. Um did we viably consider it? So, we did consider it, for a time, at different times in my kids', growing up because they had
Mm,
struggles at school or I mean, a couple occasions, they just weren't keeping up or they were behind or, or had, like, a really couple one of my daughters had a really so a few years in a row that were really rough at school. So either
mhm.
just developmentally for her, it's kind of not keeping up, academically and relationally too with other kids. Like, oh man, this is I mean, the poor girl. So the whole story there's a lot, and just she was going through a lot, and she was it was manifesting in just her mentality, her health, and anxiety. Some stuff you're just like, what is going on? We did think about that, but I don't think ever seriously, really. The funny thing is that, like, when, during the COVID thing, whatever, when everybody was
Yeah.
home, whatever you wanna call it, so it was really nice having the kids around all the time.
Yeah.
It was really nice. It was just like, we really this is really great because you see them a lot.
Yeah.
And whether or not you're, I don't know, having some life-changing conversation or experience in the moment, and you're not, it's still normal daily life. But you interact with them more, and you get to participate more in what they're doing at school, in what they're doing with their friends, and what they're doing for fun, because it's all right there. That actually was really nice,
Yeah.
and so my wife and I actually thought, "Could we would we wanna, like, do this, like, permanently, do homeschool?" And then we quickly decided, "No." We're not those people,
I
and
love that.
we're just not. I'm not. I couldn't. My wife couldn't. We're not those people.
Yeah, it's funny.
Whatever that is, I
Yeah,
don't know, but
well, no, I got you because it's one of those things where, um, my best friend, he was homeschooled until 6th grade,
yeah,
and it's again, a random tangent, but how we became best friends
yeah.
is because again, as I mentioned, I have a twin brother,
Mhm,
and the girl that he was dating on and off for, like, they dated for some time and then they broke up or whatever, And then she, I think to get back at him or to be mean to him or whatever, said, "Oh, well, there's this kid who's coming to our school. His name is Austin, and he's just so attractive." And like, so I, me being my twin brother, I was like, I made it a point. I was like, when I meet this kid, I'm gonna figure out what this kid's about. He's my best friend. So
Oh my God.
when he came to school, I remember trying to like, I don't know if I try to be mean to him or whatever, but just like figure out who he was. And then from that point on, I talked to him every day. And what's funny is I remember I asked him one day, I said, "Hey man," I said, "So like, did you want to be my friend?" He goes like, "Honestly," he goes, "you just wouldn't stop talking to me." And he goes, "Next thing you know, we just kept hanging out. And so he became my best friend. But yeah, no, oh man, he's awesome. So he was homeschooled until he was till 6th grade. And I remember everything. Used to think to myself like, "Oh my gosh, homeschooled? You're a weirdo." You know what I mean? Like, you're lucky I'm your friend.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm the gift to you, buddy. So just remember that. Just remember the status here.
And it was crazy because I was like, "Oh my gosh, homeschoolers are weird. They don't talk to people." Like, and I remember it's like, "Something wrong with you?" Like, and now I told myself, I said I would never homeschool my kids.
Yeah.
Never. But one thing that I think I told him later on in life, but one thing that I envied about my friend is he was so smart, and I couldn't figure out. I'm like, "Dude, how do you so freaking smart?" I'm like, "You don't even pay attention to class. I watch you. You don't pay attention, and then you come and take this test, and you're just like, yeah, okay, here you go." And I was envious. I was like, how are you doing this? Yeah. And one thing that I realized, I was like, oh. It was the foundation of what education was for him. It was completely different. And so a lot of the things that we were learning, he was like, "I already learned these things."
Oh, okay.
And so he was like, I'm bored. So when you see me sitting here and I'm just like, whatever, not taking notes or whatever, he's like, "It's because I'm bored."
He's like, "I'm not having fun."
Yeah, like,
"This is not enjoyable. I am bored."
He's like, "Imagine relearning something that you've already learned, and then you have to relearn it. Not only are you have to relearn it, but they want you to do it a certain way that you weren't taught how to do it, even though you get the answer." And it's like, especially in math, you're like, "I showed my work, but because you didn't like the work that I showed you and how I got to the answer, you're like, no, you did it wrong. I'm going to give you half points." Is the answer correct? The point of math is to solve the equation. I solved the equation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he told me about these again many years later after school. But again, one thing I noticed is just he had this thing about him where he was able to prioritize school, and he was able, and part of it was his character and personality, but still there was this part where I saw it was like, okay, I like the fact that school came easy, and not just easy in the sense of like, "Hey, you did the work, now you don't have to worry about it." But he was able to understand a lot of things that I would sit there and I'd be like, "Can you explain that again? I don't even know what we're talking about. I'm lost, completely lost." Right. And so fast forward, and me and my wife, high school sweethearts. And so fast forward, and she was like, I remember she was like, "Yeah, we're going to homeschool our kids." This was before homeschooling was like, like big on the news and big on whatever.
It is bigger now. Yeah.
And she was like, "Oh yeah, we're going to homeschool our kids." And I was like, "No, we're not." So we're sending them to school.
Yeah.
By the time my daughter was old enough to actually go to school, it was 2000, or truthfully, it was 21.
Okay.
Yeah, 21. So like COVID still ish, maybe. And so I was like, and everything that was going on, people going to school boards and all these things, the books in the libraries. I was like, homeschooling sounds really cool now. And so we just did it. And I'll tell you, there are several times she won't watch this. I love my wife, guys, but she doesn't. She again, she's heard me talk so many times.
Enough of you as it is.
I'm a lot to deal with. Okay, so I love you though if you do watch this. So we had an argument about homeschooling.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, hey, I'll let you homeschool our kids for a year. I said, if I don't see what I like, if I don't see like the actual growth and development, I said, we're sending in school, public school. Because my biggest thing was like, I said, I don't care about the school thing of just going to school. I said, I want my kids to have an education. I want them to be educated. Like I want them to actually know things. I was like, Aubrey, one of my biggest pet peeves is I talk to soldiers. I said, hey guys, when did World War II start? Again, I'm a history buff, so sure, fine, I get it, right?
Everybody should know that.
Give me a general idea. Give me a date range. You know what I mean? You know, give me something. You know, like
within 20 years, either way.
You know, like
10?
And I remember like, oh man, I have no idea. And I'm like, what? I said it started in 1939. I was like, Hitler invaded Poland. Poland gave up after I think it was 2 or 3 days. It was very quickly. I was like, the Blitzkrieg was a new thing, was a new tactic. And again, I'm a history nerd. I don't expect you to know, or well, kind of, you know, a Blitzkrieg, what the Blitzkrieg meant, and how long it took Poland to surrender, and when and what, which was September. I think it was September of 1939. He invaded Poland. But like, I don't expect you to know that down to the wire, okay? But I do expect you to kind of know this. I said, okay, when did the United States? And these are soldiers, right? Like you're in the army. I got to know something. This is military history here. I said, so when did the United States enter World War II? What is that? 52?
Oh my gosh.
52? Are you serious? Oh, no. I said, no. Well, I said, when did Pearl Harbor happen? Oh, that was way back when, huh?
Oh God. Well, yeah, it was.
Yeah. And again, like these are like, I love World War II. So again, I don't want to make it seem like, hey, like, cause they didn't necessarily know, like they're dumb, but it was like, I was like, guys, 1941, December 7th. I was like, who was president? Well,
ooh, I might even struggle with that one. I can't remember, but yeah.
It was FDR. He served. He was only president to serve 4 terms, and he was in his 4th. I think he was in his 4th term in World War II. Actually, I think 43 was his last year. It was last year as president. I don't remember who was the president after him. But yeah. So anyway, nerd. But like I said, like it was
a big gap there, like a big obvious gap that should not be there.
Yeah, and you know, and I was just like, I'm like, I want my kids to be educated. I want them to know things. Like I don't want them just to be able to go to school just for the sake of going to school and say like I did the thing. Look, I got an A, you know. And I'm like, how many people do you know that did well in middle school and high school, and now you're like, hey, you were like the smartest one of all of us. Like, what happened? You know? So I told we fought, and I said, hey, like I want them to be educated. And so I think I said, I was like, hey, you got a year. Well, that year turned into many years.
Several.
Yeah, you know, where because every time it's gotten to the point where we threaten Nevaeh. I'm like, hey, if you don't stop acting up, I'll send you to public school. And she breaks down. And she doesn't want to go. She doesn't want to go. But like I said, I don't do it to say people are raising the kids wrong or whatever. But but it is, because there are sides of it, right? Where you spend all day with your kids, and they have attachment issues. Where it's like, hey, go play, and they're like, no, I want to be with you. We have been together all day. Please, leave me alone. No. I love you. But between me, your dad, and your grandparents, we have bought a lot of toys for you to play with. Go play with them, please.
Use them. We've done it.
Yeah,
I spent a lot of my time like as a pastor, like for college and church, mediating schooling wars. So my thing was like this I don't know if it's still this way anymore. It may not be, because in some ways homeschooling is more ubiquitous everywhere. Even like even like not church people, like not Christian people are doing it. You see like this Christian sort of thing for whatever reason. But so I always think like, look, guys, I don't care how you educate your children. They're your children.
Mm-hmm.
God gave them to you to train and to raise,
Yep.
and to teach them in the way that they should go. You do that however you want, but the moment you parent sitting here fighting each other, student sitting here making fun of each other, the moment you make that a gospel issue is when we have a problem.
Yeah.
You know, like if this somehow becomes like a barrier to thing, or if somebody plants a flag in public school, yes, or homeschool, yes. And I had people plant flags in both and make it like a make or break issue. You know, that's just when that drives me crazy. But I can't do so. My mom homeschooled my two younger sisters. I don't remember the years, but for a few years, and I ran away screaming from that. I was like, "Heck no! Am I being homeschooled? I am not sitting around here anymore. I got to go out, man. I got to get out and do and see and whatever. I can't sit still long enough to be homeschooled. I'll tell you what.
My mom tried it for a week.
For you, with you,
for me and my brother for a week. She set up. I remember we were. So I was born in Vegas, and so I remember she set up everything, and she had her own
desk and like a chalkboard.
Oh yeah, had a whole setup and had a plan for the lessons we were gonna do and what she was gonna teach.
Yeah.
I remember standing in the corner because I wasn't listening. I remember, being threatened like, "Hey, wait till your dad gets home." Like, it was bad. She only did it for a week, and then she was like, "No, they're going back to school." Yeah, we're not doing this. We're not doing this. It was like she was like, "Let the school handle them." She's like, "Because it's just too much." And I get it. Like, me and my brother both had ADHD as young boys. It cannot. That's why I go on so many tangents. But yes, it's like no, cannot. And my wife, she's having a hard time with my older daughter because she shows a lot of the signs of ADHD.
Yeah. Okay.
And so, and I tell her, I'm like, I tell her sometimes, I'm like, "Hey, I get her." I was like, "But like, try it this way." I said, "You're explaining something?" I was like, "Try it this way." And I said, "I guarantee you, it probably will make sense to her."
Okay.
Now, she's never ever told me if I was right.
Well, you need to ask her. Yeah,
but
down to ask her.
But I do believe I have come to being right on a lot of some of these things.
Yeah.
I tell her what my mom used to tell me. Even when I'm wrong, I'm right. So
yeah, that's right.
So but yeah. But it's like that's the thing. That's where I think the biggest things for parents, especially when when you're trying to help parents or talking to them, it's like that's your home, right? You do what's best for your family. I can't tell you what's best for your family.
Yeah.
I just signed up for health insurance. Let me tell you, I've never had to do that. I'm used to Army TRICARE, where they're just like, TRICARE, you get TRICARE, you get TRICARE. Everybody's got TRICARE. And you know what that means? I have no idea. I just go to the doctor and then I don't think about it. You know what I mean? I've never had to think about it in that sense. So then, work's like, "Hey, sign up for your health insurance." And I'm looking at this. It's giving me anxiety. I'm like, it's the same prices, but like, is Aetna better than Primera?
Yeah.
Primera? Well, what? And Primera is Blue Cross Blue Shield. Why doesn't it just say Blue Cross Blue Shield? I don't understand. And then why? What's a tier 1 doctor? Isn't every doctor supposed to be a tier 1 doctor? This is stressing.
Subgrade doctors. People even have degrees. They know what they're doing.
It's stressing me out. And I was like,
real doctor, doctor still in school, witch doctor, snake oil salesman.
You know what I mean? Like, we called our father-in-law. I called my wife, called her mom, and she was like, "Oh, you need to talk to your dad." And I remember sitting there, and I just wanted to give him the answer. And it was like, he goes, "Well, I'll tell you, whatever is best for you and your family." He goes, "Whatever you think you guys need." And I'm like, "That's not helping me." This was literally like 3 days ago. Like, I was like, it stressed me out. And I told my wife, I said, "You know what? All right, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do this. We're doing this health plan, this dental plan, this vision plan," which, again, I didn't know they were all separated. I thought they were all one thing. So then we're doing this, and then life insurance. All right. We did it.
Done. We did something.
I pressed submit and I said, that's a lot of money a month, but hey, you guys, we got health insurance, and so, but it was just so stressful.
It was stressful.
It was just stressful to where you like your decision paralysis, and I just, oh man, I couldn't handle it.
Why are there so many options to begin with? I don't know.
That's what drives me nuts. It was literally like, it was Kaiser, which is, don't even get me started. That's a brand new work computer. I almost threw it because I was like, no. I don't even want to look at this anymore.
Yeah.
I've been looking at this computer all day. Now you want me to choose health insurance? I don't know. Someone just tell me where to go. Tell me what health insurance I got. But it's just overwhelming. It was just overwhelming. So much that's how my wife, my wife feels. I can tell with a lot, just with the homeschooling at times. And this is one of those things where it's like, okay, like my best friend, going back to him, I was like, his mom probably created a foundation. She created a foundation where she knew, where she sent her son out into the world and said, hey, I know he's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And it has to get to a point where every parent, if you are homeschooling, it's become stressful, they trust your kids. You say, hey, my kids have a strong enough foundation in Christ. Like they were believers. And I was like, but as a young kid, I was like, man, I mean, my parents, we go to church too, but like, you guys are way into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I used to make fun of them for it. And now I'm like,
I don't know, man, I wish I had that.
Yeah, like how do I teach my kids to be
like
church weirdos? Like I would rather my kids be known as church weirdos.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, right, like I said, we could talk forever. But it's been phenomenal. I appreciate you coming. I appreciate your time. It means a lot to me. And it means, I know it means a lot to the audience. It's fun to see, and this is what I tell people, which is having conversations, right? Because as we talked to and alluded to earlier in this conversation, a lot of people in this world, or in this country especially, we're very divisive. We're our own, and we don't do just this, the conversations, getting to know a person, being honest with the person, and being able to be like, man, like I have a lot more in common with that person than I realized. Where it's like, oh, I hate that person, but then you're like, oh, we're actually probably
don't even know. And you can never get there until you spend the time in conversation. You can never get there.
Like I said, I thought I was going to hate Austin, and he is, to this day, my best friend.
How ironic.
Like we've known each other. We've known each other a year longer than I've known my wife.
Oh, wow.
So he with sixth grade, we went to school. I met him. It was the first day of sixth grade. And then I met my wife. I was in seventh grade. She was in sixth grade, at the same school. And then we didn't start dating until 2011.
Yeah. Okay.
So we've been together for a very long time. Yeah. We were kids together, so
cool though.
It's very, so I tell people a lot and I promise in the last thing, but I tell people a lot because my soldiers would look at me and be like, well, I can get married at 19 because I got married at 19 and they're like, and have a successful relationship. But I said, you could. I said, but it's work. It's a lot of work. And I said, the other person, I said, you can be strong, but that other person has to be committed just as much as you are. And my wife she's amazing. She is amazing in every single aspect. Yeah. We are down here talking, and I know she knows how long we've been down here for.
Too long.
Yeah, but she knows me, but she also knows that I love doing this, and she won't climb. I'll go up there and she'll be like, you need to go take care of your kids. And I'm like, all right, they're not in bed yet. It's kind of waited, kind of prolonged it just so they could be in bed.
Subconsciously, I'm sure.
but she's amazing. And that's the other side of it, where I tell people, I was like, because we've grown, almost like it feels like growing up together, essentially it's like, we've had a lot of growing to do together.
Yeah.
Whereas, some of the young kids who are getting married, they're like, oh, well, I really like her And it's like, what head are you thinking with, my guy? Because I don't think you understand what you're getting yourself into.
And all the growth that you're about to have.
All the growth that you're about to go through. And then, especially in the military, it forces you to grow up so fast. And then you have it, and then your wife who are your significant other is not in the military. It's hard because you're growing, but doesn't feel like they're growing. And then you're like, okay, maybe we're not meant to be because you're not growing with me, and we had to go through that. Like, we had to go through that. When I came back from Afghanistan, I was a different person, better or worse, but it was, we had to, there was a lot of growing up pains, because it was like, you're not the same person you were before you left.
Right.
And it was like, yeah, I know. And it's I'll finish with this. Before I deployed, I used to see the guys, the younger guys who would come back, who were similar age to me, and I'd be like, in the Army we have this term, we tell them drinking the Kool-Aid, where they're like, oh, you just drank the Kool-Aid, where you've been sold by the Army dream, and it does not exist, my friend. Like, you are just too deep into it, and there's nothing, you know what I mean? And we used to tell them, like, you drink the Kool-Aid. And I didn't understand why everybody who came back, why they would like, why are you so serious about the Army now? Like, you were fun to hang out with, now you're so serious about the Army. And then it happened to me, and I was like, oh, it's real life. Again, like I mentioned, it's real life. And that's where the change happened for me, where now I became more serious, and I took the Army more serious. I took what I did more seriously, because I didn't want to see people dying. And I didn't want it to be my fault because of my inability to do my job. And so I changed. And so then when I'm coming home in the Army, that's great. I'm growing. I'm a young man, but I'm very mature for my age. Right. But then at home, I can't. I'm not Sergeant Wilcox at home. You know what I mean? I can't be Sergeant Wilcox at home. And so it was kind of like, oh, who are you talking to, dude? You sleep on the couch.
You can sleep on the common charge here, fool.
Right. And so it was. There was a lot of growing pains. I tell people, a lot of growing pains, but it was worth it. It was worth it. And we're still going, and. Again, I'm only 31, and a lot of people are like, you've been married for 12 years? Yes. I've been married for going on 12 years. Yeah, we've been married since we've been together since 2011. And let me tell you,
that's good, though.
No other person in this world can handle me except my twin brother. Because we're the same. So
we're the same, being twins.
That's the only person. But anyway, like I said, I know we could talk forever, but I appreciate you coming on, Ryan. It means a lot to me. Guys, as usual, being mediocre is a choice. You have to choose to be mediocre every single day. It's all I got. We'll catch you all next time.